Fifth principle. Choice is good. Let's assume that our organization has multiple teams working in a range of situations. How do we define a process that applies to each and every situation that covers the range of issues faced by each team? How do we keep it up to date as each team learns and evolves their approach? The answer is that we can't. Documenting such a process is exponentially expensive. Developing new products, services, and software is a complex endeavor. That means we can never know for sure what's going to happen. There are many layers of activities going on at the same time, and it's hard to see how each relates to the others. Systems are holistic and not understandable just by looking at their components. Instead, we must look at how the components of the system interact with each other. Consider a car, for example. While cars have components, the car itself is also about how the car's components interact with each other. For example, putting a bigger engine in a car might make the car unstable if the frame can't support it. When making improvements to how we work, we must consider the following: how people interact with each other, how work being done in one part of the system affects the work in others, how people learn, and how people in the system interact with people outside of the system. These interactions are unique to a particular organization. The principle of context counts means we must make intelligent choices based on the situation we are in. But how? We first recognize that we're not trying to figure out the best way to do things up front, but rather create a series of steps, each either making improvements on what we're doing or by learning something that will increase the likelihood of improvement the next time. Each step in this series is presented as a hypothesis, that is, a conjecture that it will be an improvement if we can accomplish it. If we get improvement, we're happy and can go on to the next step. If we don't, we should ask why we didn't. Our efforts should lead to either improvement or learning, which then sets up the next improvement action. We can think of this as a scientific approach as we're trying actions and validating them. The salient aspect of disciplined Agile is that we use practices that are germane to our situation, and in order to do that we need to know what practices exist that we could choose from. Different contexts require different strategies. Teams need to be able to own their own process and to experiment to discover what works in practice for them given the situation that they face. As we learned in previous lessons, disciplined Agile delivery provides 6 life cycles for teams to choose from and 21 process goals that guide us toward choosing the right practices for our team given the situation that we face. Yes, it seems a bit complicated at first, but this approach proves to be a straightforward strategy to help address the complexities faced by solution delivery teams. This choice-driven strategy is a middle way. At one extreme, we have prescriptive methods, which have their place, such as Scrum, extreme programming, and SAFe, which tell us one way to do things. At the other extreme are creating our own methods by looking at our challenges, creating new practices based on principles, and trying them as experiments and learning as we go. This is how methods that tell us to experiment and learn as we go develop their approach. Disciplined Agile sits between these two extremes. By taking this process goal-driven approach, it provides process commonality between teams with flexible and straightforward guidance that is required to tailor and evolve their internal processes to address the context of the situation. Teams can choose, from known strategies, the likely options to then experiment with, increasing the chance that they find something that works for them in practice.